I picked out 5 of my best cows, so we use fixed time AI on those cows, and we use sex semen on them. And then I had 6 heifers then that we used conventional semen on, and they were serviced naturally then, with AI.
Hello and welcome to the Beef Edge, the Teagasc Beef Podcast, for all your latest news, information and advice for Irish beef farmers. I'm Keaveney, and on this week's episode, I'm joined by future beef farmer Keaveney to discuss the breeding season to date and to get an update on the farm. Shane, you're very welcome. Can you give an overview of your farm system?
We run a spring calving herd here, around 38 cows. Every year it fluctuates a little bit, but around that. We slaughter our bulls at under 16 months, and our heifers then, what's not retained for breeding, whatever's ready to be finished off grass after the second summer is slaughtered, and then whatever isn't is sold as forward stores. And this year we started buying in a few dairy cross calves just to run out the rest of it, just to up our output, really,
Breeding season is underway, Shane, and you've been using AI. How are you finding it this year?
We'd have always used AI on our heifers for the last few years, but this year I picked out my best few cows that I wanted to get replacements off. We looked at their star ratings, their indexes, their milk and carcass star ratings. So I picked out 5 of my best cows. So we use fixed time AI on those cows, and we use sex semen on them. And then I had 6 heifers then that we used conventional semen on, and they were serviced naturally then, with AI.
And what sires were you using, Shane?
On the sex semen, we used Linux, he's a Smithfield bull, and we used 1 straw of Roy, Notstown Roy's Solaire bull. I had 1 purebred cow that I wanted to use him on. And then on the heifers, we used Powerful Proper, he's a Limousine bull.
And based on your experience with regard labour and management up to breeding, would you be in favour or against using AI again next year on possibly more cows compared to using it just on heifers?
I want to see how the conception rates are with the cows this year, but from what we had to do, I'd be very positive about it. Yeah, it was brilliant,
And you mentioned there earlier you're finishing bulls at under 16 months. Can you talk through how they're managed from once they're housed last November up to now that you'll be finishing in the coming weeks?
They were housed last November, a bit earlier than that actually, because the weather got quite wet in October. So they were housed on 2 kilos of meal, and they were getting the best quality silage I had. It was up on 73 DMD silage. And from around the middle of December then we started upping the meal gradually. So by Christmas they were probably on 4 to 5 kilos of meal. And then into January then we started slowly upping the meal rate on them. So by the first week, second week of February, they were probably on ad lib with straw. And that's the way they've been since. So the first 3 bulls were slaughtered yesterday, and that's where we're at. The rest of them will be gone over the next 5 weeks, hopefully, They're eating about 10 to 12 kilos each a day now of meal, along with some straw, particularly in water.
And how have the first 3 performed to date that you finished?
I was very happy with them. Their average weight, there was 3 went, their average kilo weight was 414 kilos, and there was 2 U equals, a 3 score fat, and 1 U minus, a 2 plus score on fat. So I was very happy with that, 2 of them bulls were 14 months and 1 was 15 months.
So they're doing very well for under target age of slaughter as well?
Absolutely, yeah. Very happy. Very happy now, yeah.
And when will the next group of bulls, when you'll be drafting the next number of bulls?
There'll be a few going every week now, from now until the first week of July. So they'll be all gone. And it sort of coincides with my calving rate, because I have a very compact calving, so they're gone over a short time as well, which is great,
What's your plan, Shane, for second cut silage then?
I took up about 4 acres of first cut silage, and this year I decided to go a different way around it. We cut half it 2 weeks ago, about just over 10 acres on the 17th of May, and wanted to target that for my weanlings, just have good top quality silage. The rest of it then, I'm sort of letting bulk up a little bit. So if that's coming in around 68 DMD, it'll be good enough for the cows, dry cows for the winter, like, you know. But and hopefully pull out. I've some surplus paddocks pulled out this week now as well, which they'll be earmarked for weanlings as well. And we'll once of all the first cut silage taken up, then we'll look at how much more we'll need to take up for second cut, then to see what we need to bring us through next winter, you know.
What fertiliser will you be applying now in the coming weeks then for the second cut?
Well, hopefully with this weather, it's a bit on pause, but the plan is to go out with about 3,000 gallons of fairly watery slurry with trailing shoe, and top it up with some protected urea plus sulphur, like. So that's the plan. So we'll be looking to hit it with 70 units of nitrogen per acre in total.
And you mentioned there that you're removing surplus paddocks at the moment.
Yeah.
What's your plan for grazing ground at the moment, and how is grazing going?
Grazing is, I suppose, it's a good complaint to have. We've an awful lot of grass ahead of us. Some of the pre-grazing yields they're going into are a little bit on the heavy side. So I didn't want to get caught in a situation that was taking out too many paddocks and leave myself short maybe in a fortnight or 3 weeks' time. So what they're grazing now is probably a little bit heavier, but I hope in the next week that's begun to the system. We'll be back on top of it again. The cows are moving on every 2.5 days from each paddock, you know, and they're very content to grass at the moment, you know.
Are you spreading fertiliser every rotation, or what's your fertiliser plan?
This year, with the way the spring was, I have an awful lot of slurry left in the tanks because I couldn't get it all out when I wanted to. So 2 weeks ago there, I went out with 2,500 gallons of slurry per acre on a couple of paddocks that were just freshly grazed. They were only grazed a couple of days with trailing shoe. So I'm using that as topping up for my compound fertiliser this year, you know. So and I'd be going protected urea then on the other paddocks. Not quite every rotation, but sort of rotation and a half, if you want to put it that way, really, you know.
And you mentioned there some of the silage ground that's been taken out in the coming weeks. Will you be applying lime, or what's your plan for the lime this year?
I put out lime in the back end. I applied for the scheme there, so I'm hoping to put out maybe 100 tonne of lime in the back end. I plan on doing a good bit of reseeding in later on this summer. There were old pastures that were in the glass permanent pasture, so I'm out of that now, so I plan on reseeding those. So they'll be getting lime. We applied lime last back end as well. We got 25 tonne of lime out. On my nutrient plan, I think I need to put out around 140 tonne of lime. So at the end of this year, I'll be well over halfway there. Like, so it's an ongoing process, really, you know.
And you're trying red clover as well this year, Shane. How did you go about reseeding it?
On the 7th of April there, I sprayed it off with glyphosate to burn off the ground, and then I think the first week of May we eventually got back to reseed it. So we gave it a couple of runs of the disc harrow, and then I got a contractor in to go with the one pass system with the power harrow and the seeding box on top of it. So we went with 4 kilos of red clover, a kilo of white clover, and 7.5 kilos of grass seed then per acre on that, you know. But that was the mix that we got. And
how is that being managed at the moment, or what's your plan for the coming weeks with it?
It's all up. Before, I suppose, after we sprayed it off, it got 12 tonne of farm manure per acre, and one of the fields, the drier field, got some slurry. The other one didn't. It was too wet for slurry. So that got 2 or 3 bags of 10, 20 per acre there a couple of weeks ago. So just keeping an eye on it now. I'm probably in a fortnight's time, I'll probably hit with a pre-emergent spray, just to kill off any docks that's left in it, or any other grassland weeds coming up with it, you know.
And when do you intend to cut the first crop from it?
Hopefully mid-July. All going well this year, you know. The thing with the red clover is I'm earmarking that from the wheel and bows this year. I'm just trying to cut back on the amount of concentrate we have to buy, so hopefully it'll reduce it a little bit, you know.
And obviously when that's cut in July, what will be your plan then for fertiliser again once it's harvested?
Well, it'll be getting probably 2,500, 3,000 gallons of water slurry with the trail and shoe again, you know. I have plenty of slurry left, you know, and for it, you know.
That's great. Thanks very much, Shane.
Okay, thank you, Catherine.
That's all for this week's episode, and my thanks to Shane for joining me on the show. You can catch up on all other shows and interviews from the Beef Edge podcast on the Teagasc website at teagasc.ie, or you can listen on Apple and Google Podcasts as well as Spotify. Don't forget to rate, review and subscribe so you never miss a show. For all other updates from our beef programme, keep an eye on our Twitter and Facebook pages. Until next time, I'm Catherine Egan, and thanks for listening.